We're almost out of 2020, but we're creeping into 2021. So, what books are marketable in 2020/2021? Hi, I'm Marcus, and I'm the idiot on the writer's block. If you're new to the channel, I, the idiot, ask experts for tips on how to write, publish, and promote my first fiction novel. Check this playlist to watch all the previous questions I've already asked on the channel. And I've heard that interactivity really helps the channel, so give us a thumbs up, subscribe, share to your friends, and definitely go into the comments. You'll make a comment, I'll reply, you'll disagree, and we'll argue, and you'll call me an idiot, I'll say you're lame, and we'll kiss and make up, and YouTube will say, hey, this channel is great. I think that's how it works. I don't know, give it a try. Put a comment. I'll try not to call you lame. That might be a little bit too much, but we'll see. Go for it. Go for it. Anyway, one of the things that I would like to do is find out if the book that I'm writing is going to be marketable. And I know that what may be fashionable today possibly won't be tomorrow. But I think it'll be in my best interest to try and find out what the market tastes are like. So I figured the best thing to do is to gauge what is popular now, maybe next year. By the time my novel comes out next year, maybe the genre might be popular. Or if it's not, at least I can start planning ahead and get in front of the curve or ahead of the curve, whatever the expression is. Anyway, this idiot is going to put the question on the writer's block. What is marketable in 2020/2021? And here are some experts to tell us what is marketable in literature in 2020 and 2021.
Yeah, so what I look at as far as marketability, especially with edits, is like a stylistic. At certain points, more fast-paced commercial is going to be more marketable, and at certain points, the like softer, quieter stories are going to be on point. And it depends on, again, what genre it is, what the author wants to do. I always tell my authors, it's not my name that goes on the book, so if you don't like something, fight me. You know, as soon as COVID hit, the whole market shifted a little bit because all of our mindsets shifted. I have never seen rom-com shoot up in the wish list as fast as I did whenever COVID hit. And I mean, it was already like climbing slowly, like people were wanting more and more rom-com, but it was just like immediate. I was like, I don't have one. I want one, but I don't have one to send you. I'm sorry. And so right now, definitely rom-com's still up there. But what's interesting is on the reverse side, horror is still up there. And so when something's happening like a global pandemic, there's people who go, I only want the light and fluffy. And there's people who are like, send me all the darkest things you can find. And it's really fascinating. And so whenever, you know, it seems like election years happen, we tend to go towards some darker lit, at least in the, you know, the US. I watched, you know, fantasy go from fairy tale retellings, which were huge when I started out in the industry. Those have fallen off. Then all of a sudden it was just high fantasy. Everyone had high fantasy. That has gotten so saturated that fantasy is a really hard sell right now. On the flip side, you know, you can also watch, I love it, because in October and anytime like around Halloween, October, November, fall, lovely time of year. It's my favorite time of year because always the good books are really popular that time of the year. The horror, the thriller, the psychological, the suspense, that's all generally but easier sell at that time of year. If you're trying to look into the future to see what's marketable and what people are going to be thinking, you can look at, again, what's happening in the world, what's happening politically. If, you know, in the US market, if you want to sell in the US right now, you know, own voices, diverse books, those are huge, which I love that that's a thing. And that's a change that is totally shifting the market as a whole. And I'm all totally on board for that. So as, you know, you're trying to figure out what's going to be marketable next, you know, look at what has been marketable in the past. Remember that what's being published like today was probably purchased 2 years ago or a year ago. And so it's not going to necessarily be the same, but you can see what is probably coming based on what has already been, because it's just a big cycle.
Honestly, it's hard because publishing as a whole has slowed down so much, and we've lost so much money this year, as has every business due to COVID. Especially, American publishing is still struggling. We are still chugging along and barely breathing at this point, like paddling our way through the ocean and trying to keep our head afloat at this point. Publishers aren't buying books. Our sales are down. Everything is struggling. I am a fantasy reader, and I've said this before. When COVID hit, I did not read anything. I couldn't do any work. I really couldn't do much of anything. And I eventually got back into it because I read Leigh Bardugo's Shadow and Bone. So I got back into it because I read a fantasy series. But almost every single editor that I've talked to says fantasy isn't selling, it's not flying, and contemporary romance or fluffy romance or anything of that sort is what's selling. So, yeah. So, and even then, my clients, one of my clients' books came out, and it's a fluffier, romance and things like that. And even in COVID, all sales are down. It's just, it's rough. It's very rough. But, for me personally, I would love to see high fantasy, and I hope that high fantasy comes back after COVID. I want to see so much more of the world building, and something that does not take place anywhere even close to here, not even in my relative, fresh takes on fantasy, and bringing old tropes back to life and things like that. I would love to see that, but the publishing industry does not. So I've always been the black sheep, and I will remain the black sheep. I'm the agent who does not read your synopsis because I don't want to know what happens in the end. So I get hounded for that a lot by other agents. Publishing wants fluffy rom-coms, contemporaries that are happier, not as intense. So there's some beautiful, stories that I've had and manuscripts that I've had that are with friends that aren't selling because of the fact that they're darker. So anything that you can put a stamp on and say, hey, this is darker writing or more intense themes, it's not selling right now. So, which is rather unfortunate. I mean, the positive is that agents are still kind of reading and accepting whatever they want to read and accept, right? Because we're under the impression that by now it's going to take, maybe a couple months to edit, the manuscripts that we take in now, and hopefully we're out of COVID by then, and then things change. So that would be ideal. But at the same time, we all have to kind of go into this knowing that whatever we take on and whatever we want to read and whatever we represent may or may not sell. Right now, it's just fluffy romantic writing is basically the only thing that's selling at this point to any editors. And yeah.
And there you have it. Apparently romance is very big right now. Who knew? You probably did. I didn't. I didn't write a romance. Maybe I should, but I think I suck at it. I'm pretty sure I suck at it though. That'll be the next video. Thanks to the experts for their contribution. You can check the description for links to their work. But what did you think about their suggestions? Do you agree or disagree with their opinion that romance has really got the market in lockdown? Maybe you can think of reasons as to why something else like paranormal horror or steampunk space opera is actually more marketable. Put your thoughts in the comments to this channel. Like I said, we interact. You say steampunk, I'll say horror. And after all of that, you can like, subscribe, and share this channel to your friends for more tips on how to write, publish, and promote your first fiction novel. I'm Marcus, and I'll see you next time. That's gonna have to be the next. That's gonna have to be the next video, how to write a romance novel, because between me and you, I don't have a romantic bone in my body. That's gonna be the next question on the writer's block.